Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and in this video I'm going to be ranking every single Slayer album from worst to best. But before I get into that, I just want to thank you guys for getting this channel to the 50 subscriber mark. Honestly, wasn't expecting it to reach that so quickly. It literally happened overnight. Hold on, let me move this. Sorry, I have to move the computer over a bit. There we go. Anyway, yeah, it literally happened overnight. Like, what, 2-3 nights ago. That day I went, that day I was at 49, and then I went to bed, woke up the next morning, went on YouTube, and sure enough I hit the 50 subscriber mark, literally overnight. But yeah, thank you guys for that. Also, this video is technically part of my 50 subscriber special. There is 2 other videos I'm gonna make tomorrow that are part of that. But anyway, yeah. So this one's gonna be the Slayer ranking, and then the other 2 are gonna be not really ranking videos, technically speaking, but they are, anyway, I won't spoil the surprise. But anyway. Getting back to the Slayer ranking, yes, I'm gonna rank every single Slayer album from worst to best. Also, I am actually gonna be including the Haunting the Chapel EP as well as the Live Undead live album, but I will not be including the covers album. I kind of draw the line at covers albums. Anyway, with that, let's begin. So, at number 13, the worst Slayer album is Divine Intervention. It's actually one of the worst albums I've ever listened to. Honestly, it's pretty bad. Like, there's barely any budget to it. Like, the budget's almost like nothing. The lyrics are haphazardly put together, the instrumentation is sloppy, and all in all, it was pretty much just an excuse for Slayer to get a little bit more money. Not saying that Slayer was really a greedy band, but it just feels like they just didn't really want to put any effort into that album. Whether it be them just being tired at that point, or just didn't want to put out the album, but the label made them. I don't know. All in all, Divine Intervention is the worst Slayer album ever. Anyway, alright, number 12, the second worst Slayer album, is... how do you pronounce it? Diabolism Musica, there we go. Can you really say that this is a Slayer album? Diabolism Musica is not thrash. It's not even Slayer sound. It's pretty much a new metal album, and it shows. Like, at this point, Slayer were trying to cash in on the new metal craze that was going on in the 90s at that point, and it really shows. This album sucks. Like, pretty much almost every single problem that Divine Intervention has, this album has as well. Sorry, excuse me. Anyway, it's just basically a trend album. Not necessarily that it was purposely made to be, one of those albums that hops on a trend, but it kind of turned out that way. Like, I don't know. I don't know what Slayer were thinking with this one. Out of any album, this one does not sound like a Slayer album whatsoever, and it's just a very peculiar, just weird album. But yeah, it's pretty bad. But yeah, Diabolism Musica is at number 12. Alright. Number 11 is, the, I guess, quote-unquote controversial album, God Hates Us All. Everyone really knows the story behind why this was technically and not technically controversial. The release date, it pretty much came out on the same day, or was it the same day? It was either the same day or the day after 9/11. Or I know it was around that time. very close to after it happened. So yeah, some people were kind of pissed off that they released the album when they did. I don't know, but yeah, God Hates Us All is another album that just feels like they didn't put any effort into. Honestly, it's another one that I just don't find memorable whatsoever. But yeah, that's at number 11. At number 10, their last album, Repentless. The title track's okay, but the rest of the album is pretty forgettable. Honestly, it's just an album that a tired album from a tired band. Like at this point, Slayer just felt like they just were gonna call it quits soon anyway. And also, Repentless suffers from also one major thing: the lack of Jeff Hanneman. Honestly, I do kind of feel it was disrespectful to make another Slayer album and for Slayer to go on after Jeff Hanneman passed away. But, you know, whatever. It is what it is, and I just feel like this album could have sounded a bit better, but because of the lack of Jeff Hanneman, it just doesn't sound quite right. And also I don't know, just the songs just don't seem that good and just not that memorable. Anyway, but yeah, Repentless is at number 10. At number 9 is Christ Illusion. This one, it has some memorable guitar riffs here and there throughout the album, but that's really about it. If I were ever to listen to it again, I'd just listen to it for those memorable guitar riffs scattered throughout the album, but really that's about it. This album is not, again, it's just a really not memorable album. Anyway, at number 8. At number 8 is World Painted Blood, the last album to feature Jeff Hanneman. And here's the thing. Before I ever listened to this album, I actually watched the music video for World Painted Blood. Fantastic song. Amazing song, even. The title track is just something that Slayer hadn't put out in a long, long time, which is just a jaw-dropping, amazing song. And World Painted Blood, the title track is amazing. I love it, especially that sort of mid-section where he basically starts kind of rapping. But other than the title track, this album sucks. Like, I was really hoping this album would be good after hearing the title track, and I was very, very, very disappointed. Like, I just actually got this album today, and I listened to the entire album not like an hour or so ago, and I was very disappointed in this album. But yeah, great title track, but the rest of the album sucks. All right, number 7. Number 7 is not World Painted Blood, Raining Blood. Sorry. Yeah. Rain in Blood is at number 7. This exactly has the same problem that World Painted Blood has. One song is fantastic and the rest suck. Raining Blood, a fantastic, fantastic song, one of their best. But the rest of the album sucks. It really does, and it's the most overrated Slayer album, and probably the second most overrated album in terms of metal albums. It just doesn't work. Like, besides the song Raining Blood, every other song kind of clumps together and just forms this just absolute boring giant song. Like, that's it. The rest of the songs are so boring that they just sort of, fuse together and make one giant boring song. But yeah, it's just a really terrible album with one good song, and for some reason people say that this is one of the best albums of all time. It's not. It really isn't. Sorry to say, folks, it's a shitty album with one good song. Alright. Number 6 is Hell Awaits. Another extremely overrated album. But it does have a few highlights. The song Hell Awaits, fantastic. At Dawn They Sleep, another great song. And Crypts of Eternity, great song. But the rest of the album just is kind of boring. Like, Kill Again, uh, uh, Praise of Death, oh no, Necrophiliac. Necrophiliac's a great song, but Kill Again, Praise of Death, and Hardness of the Arteries are all boring. But there's some great songs on here. The problem with this album, besides those couple, boring songs, is the production. Like, it's not terrible, but it is odd. Like, the production doesn't sound right, and I don't know if that's just because this is the digitally remastered version, but the production doesn't sound right. It sounds like, I don't know. It sounds like something went wrong with the production, and I don't really like the production on this one. I think if the production was a little bit better, I would have this higher on the list, but I don't know. Just the production on this one bothers me. I can't really put my finger on it, but there's something off about the production on this one. A couple really great songs, though. Alright. Alright. Number 5. Sorry, I kind of lost track there. But number 5 is Seasons in the Abyss. Another album that is kind of overrated, but not too overrated. There are some really good songs on this one that I absolutely love. Blood Red, great song. Spirit in Black, probably my favorite song on the album. Hallowed Point, great song. Temptation, also a great song. Born of Fire, another great song. And Seasons in the Abyss, great. Honestly, the only thing that I could think of that's... Sorry, that was my phone. Anyway, the only song on here that I think is extremely overrated is War Ensemble. I think it's an average-sounding song at best. But, yeah, War Ensemble, average. But, not a big deal. But yeah, there are some great songs on this album. I think it's a little bit overrated. Not too overrated, just nothing I'd put in my top 3 or anything. But, very good and solid album. Alright. Number 4. Number 4 is the Haunting in the Chapel EP. Very good EP. Even a great one. My only complaint about this thing is the fact that even though all 4 tracks are great, tracks number 1 and 2, Chemical Warfare and Capture of Sin, don't really match. Like, those songs don't really, match the 3rd and 4th songs, Haunting in the Chapel and Aggressive Perfector. Like, for example, Chemical Warfare and Capture of Sin sounds like 2 songs that sound like they would be on Hell Awaits, whereas Haunting the Chapel and Aggressive Perfector sound like they would be on Show No Mercy, especially Aggressive Perfector. And I guess that's sort of intentional, that it's sort of a mix, like a bridge between Show No Mercy and Hell Awaits. And yeah, well, that makes sense. I just can't. I mean, I can, but it's just it's a weird track listing. It's a good track listing. I love all the songs, but the track listing is sort of weird to me. But yeah, great EP, just a kind of weird track listing. Alright, number 3. Number 3 is South of Heaven. Honestly, this is, in my opinion, Slayer's last great release. Like, seriously, they haven't had a good release since this album. Honestly, I've grown to like majority of the album. Like, at first couple listens, I didn't like, Ghosts of War, and Read Between the Lies. But now I like those. There's only, 2 tracks on here that I don't like. Cleanse the Soul and Spill the Blood. But everything else on this album I absolutely love. I'd say my 3 favorite songs on here are the title track, South of Heaven, Live Undead, and Behind the Crooked Cross. Oh yeah, Silent Scream I don't like either, but again, majority of the album is fantastic. And speaking of the song Behind the Crooked Cross, the guitar riff in that song, the main riff, is actually was actually the inspiration for the basically the first ever bit of music you hear in the original Doom on the very first level. Yeah, people actually. It's a common misconception that the guitar riff that they base a bit of music on in the first level of Doom is from one of the Metallica albums. That's a very common misconception, but no, the guitar riff that they based that bit of music off in Doom is actually the guitar riff from Behind the Crooked Cross. But yeah, just a really great song and on a fantastic album that only has 3 songs on it that aren't that good. But yeah, I absolutely love it. I love this album. Alright, number 2. Number 2 is the live album Live Undead. One of the best live albums I've ever heard. I mean, yeah, people complain that it obviously was, enhanced in the studio, but honestly, every single live album has been studio enhanced in some way or another. It just so happens that this is a little bit more obvious, but honestly, that doesn't matter to me. It's still a fantastic live album. A fantastic representation of a live show during the early era of Slayer. The only complaint I can make about this live album is the track Aggressive Perfector. No, sorry, the tracks Aggressive Perfector and Captor of Sin. Now, the reason why I point those out is because they don't really fit. Like 98% of the track listing is songs from Show No Mercy, and then you have 2 songs from the EP, the Haunting in the Chapel EP, and they're the 2 songs that they're the 2 songs that just don't fit. Well, maybe, yeah, okay, sorry, I'm wrong. Aggressive Perfector, it does kind of fit. I'm sorry, I was thinking of the other one, but yeah, at the very least, Captors doesn't fit. Like, it's a style of song that would be on Hell Awaits and not Show No Mercy. Like, if they would have just played at least one more song from Show No Mercy, I think it would have been great. Like, imagine if they put on here like a song like, I don't know, Tormentor, great song, or how about even Cryonics, another great choice they could have done. But no, they went with Captor of Sin for some reason. Aggressive Perfector again kind of fits, but yeah. Anyway, that's really my only complaint about this album is that there's at the very least one song that doesn't really fit the track listing. But other than that, a fantastic live album. Alright, number 1 is obvious at this point. Number 1 is Show No Mercy. In my opinion, the best thing Slayer has ever released. Honestly, there's a part of me that wishes Slayer would have not, changed their sound after this album, or I guess kind of after Haunting the Chapel EP. But even though I like this, signature Slayer sound a bit with certain releases, honestly, again, there's a part of me that wishes that they didn't change their sound. Because the style on here is very unique. Technically, the only other time you hear this style is on Live Undead, because a majority of the songs are from the first album, are from Show No Mercy, so it makes sense that live album would sound pretty much like Show No Mercy for the most part. But this album is, in my opinion, perfect Slayer. Like, ideal Slayer. Like, yeah, when most people think of Slayer, they think of Rain in Blood, or Seasons of the Abyss, or even South of Heaven. But when I think of Slayer, the first thing that I think of is this album. This is Slayer at their best, in my opinion. I mean, there's only 2 songs on here that I don't like. Die by the Sword and Fight Till Death, I think, are kind of overrated, especially Die by the Sword. I don't think it's a very good song. But everything else I like. Yes, Cryonics. Okay, Cryonics is a song that for the longest time I did not like. But, for some reason, hearing this song on vinyl, because I actually recently got the vinyl. Hold on. Hearing this song on vinyl changed my mind about it. Like, I don't know what it is about Cryonics, listening to that song on vinyl, but it just worked. I don't know. Like, it is a great song, but for some reason I didn't realize it until I listened to the song and I listened to the vinyl version of the album. But yeah, like, there's some great songs on here, even some iconic songs, like, of course, Evil Has No Boundaries, The Antichrist, Black Magic, probably Slayer's most popular song, um, The Final Command, Show No Mercy, and then three extremely underrated songs. Let's see, Metal Storm / Space the Slayer, a fantastic song, probably the most epic song on the album. And Slayer doesn't do many epic sounding songs, quote unquote, but yeah, it's just a very epic sounding song, very underrated. Cryonics, another extremely underrated song, and then probably the most underrated song, in my opinion, in terms of Slayer, and that's Tormentor. It's so underrated that Slayer never really gave it any attention after this album. I mean, there was very few times where Slayer played the song live. I believe, and also there's only one recording of them playing it live, and it was at a very early show, even before this album, and it was sort of, I guess, not in its final stage, considering that the song sounded like halfway into it sounded completely different. It wasn't like a finished song yet. But yeah, anyway, a fantastic album. Probably Slayer's most underrated album. And overall, in my opinion, Slayer's best release ever. I almost fell. Anyway, so that's about it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.